But the furu' as defined, Ibn al-Hajib rahimahullah defines it very famously, as well as Sa'd al-Taftazani rahimahullah, and others have defined it as al-ilm or ilm al-ahkam or al-ilm bil-ahkam al-shar'iyyah al-far'iyyah عن أدلتها التفصيلية بالاستدلال. Ibn al-Hajib rahimahullah uses the word bil-istidlal in the end, which I'll explain why it makes a lot more sense. Even the likes of Ibn Abdi and others from the Mutaakhirun, who are not considered to be the main individuals relied upon in usul altogether, and generally speaking, have missed out on this detail, which is very important. But if I were to break it down, he says al-ilm bil-ahkam al-shar'iyyah al-far'iyyah عن أدلتها التفصيلية. So, for example, if I were to write it down, I would say, so I can break it down for students. He says, Ibn al-Hajib rahimahullah, in his mukhtasar, al-ilm bil-ahkam al-shar'iyyah al-far'iyyah عن أدلتها التفصيلية بالاستدلال. This is the most perfect definition for fiqh that is given. I'm not going to get into the other different definitions. This is Ibn al-Hajib rahimahulah's definition that is given in his famous mukhtasar on usul, where he defines fiqh too. So al-ilm bil-ahkam, so ilm that has to do with rulings. That's pretty clear. These first two are not really the topics of our discussion now. Al-shar'iyyah was what matters. Ahkam that are wad'iyyah, etc. are not discussed here. Ahkam that are more legal specific, the ones that relate to legalities, are the ones that are going to be discussed, not the ones that relate to other things. But legal rulings include both jurisprudential and theological rulings. So that he takes out by his statement al-far'iyyah, which means the secondary ones. So the primary legal rulings in Islam are considered to be the discussions that relate to theology, which is why As-Sa'd and many others have argued, and rightfully so, that Islamic theology is a far more superior science than Islamic jurisprudence, both in any form of engagement possible, and which they're correct about. And you would understand the far' of it, this is considered to be secondary, the offshoot, this legal rulings, rather than the primary, the main ones. The asliyah or the i'tiqadiyah are the ones that are discussed in ilm al-tawheed. And عن أدلتها التفصيلية, and the ones that are derived from proofs that are detailed. So they're not really considered to be maxims or general things that are generic rules or principles through which you're able to be guided towards what the hukm is, and you would understand that, for example, another point that's mentioned here regarding the tafsiliyah, as mentioned by al-Bāb rahimahullah in his commentary, al-Rudud wal-Nuqūd, on the Mukhtasar of al-Imam al-Hajib rahimahullah, he says that this will actually take the ilm of Allah ta'ala and the ilm of the Prophet alayhi salam as well. So he says that this is going to remove ilm al-ilah and wal-Rasul, you can say. That is not considered the ilm of Allah ta'ala and the ilm of the Prophet alayhi salam is not something that would be subjected to adillah tafsiliyah altogether. Well, I guess he says technically the tafsiliyah is not the focus, adillah tafsiliyah altogether, you would say. And if that is clear to students, altogether. This is the ilm of Allah and ilm al-ilah wal-Rasul goes out of this. And outside of, he says, al-far'iyyah, It's known as, I told you, that al-Asliyah are taken out, and al-Shar'iyah, the ones that are al-Wad'iyah, and al-Wad'iyah, they're outside the fiqh discussions, obviously, and al-Aqliyah are also taken out. These are the ones. These are the things that are excluded in all of this. And lastly, I mean, this is what's going to narrow it down to, okay, this is what we're talking about. This is what fiqh, furu' al-fiqh talks about. Lastly, the al-istidlal takes out whatever ilm would be considered to be the ilm of the mustafti, which is extremely important to understand here. So you would say the ilm or the i'tiqad of the mustafti. Mustafti refers to a person who's seeking the answer, the questioner. So the questioner's knowledge goes outside of it. So a person who has fiqh is the one who's able to answer, not the one who's still looking for the answers. Because the ilm and the i'tiqad of the mustafti, whatever he has, is not considered to be fiqh per se. He's still considered to be a student of that science. But anyone who's said to be, hey, this person is a faqih, or a faqih, or a faqih, a person who has fiqh terminologically, as we defined it, he would not be someone who is deprived of istidlal. Because even if the knowledge is equal, the knowledge of between a faqih and a non-faqih, or a alim and a non-alim is considered, or a mustafti or a mufti is considered to be equal in the sense of the same piece of information exists in the mind or minds of both of them, but they're different in terms of istidlal. That the mustafti is not able to do istidlal, and a mufti should be able to do istidlal, which is extremely important to understand, because that brings us back to al-uṣul, and anyone who does not have a good understanding of al-uṣul cannot have a good understanding of al-furu' of fiqh, because of the fact that istidlal is weak. And istidlal does not really refer to being able to know, hey, this hadith is used for that, and how did you reach that conclusion by using this hadith? What process did you go to, and what things did you have to understand to be able to derive this legal ruling, is what truly istidlal refers to. So this point, I would believe, is extremely important, which is not mentioned by a lot of people who are defining ilm al-fiqh, that is more particularly furu' al-fiqh.